now we talk about let's get HR on board in a serious way, or?
HR, and also think about what are the career paths for circular economy experts in the future.
Yeah.
Is it that we need the circular economy manager at some point, or do we need to integrate it in all functions within a business?
So maybe that's the two dimensions emphasized. The competencies within an organization,
yes.
New positions will be built. The career path is super important.
Yes.
Because I think some of us and some of you just ended up somehow in there in a very pragmatic way, but how can we make that more structured?
Exactly, right now that's a moment of serendipity. There was the right person in the right situation with the right management. How can we structuralize that? How we can create support structures? I think that's an important question to ask.
Yeah.
Also, if you look at how transitions are going, right? We have a lot of pilots going on, but then most of them are not scaling at this point. And I think one crucial aspect is that the people are important at this point, and we're not talking enough about the people. We're talking so much about the tech and the regulations. We forget sometimes to talk about the people.
And also when it comes to people, you've been working together with Bertelsmann Stiftung. You published a report which is about circular economy that needs leadership. So people is people in the different functions, but then a leadership question, obviously. Shall we dive in there with our first impulse?
Let's do that with the impulse, and after that I would love to welcome the perfect panel to discuss that from the management perspective and the implementation perspective. But first of all, I would love to invite Birgit Wintermann from the Bertelsmann Stiftung onto the stage to present, with a warm applause, to present the results of the report that we've been working on over the last week.
Wonderful. Curious to hear. Birgit, warm welcome. The stage is all yours.
Stage yours.
Thank you very much. Yes, nice to be here, nice to having me. First of all, greetings to my colleague Armando Garcia-Schmidt, who was the one who worked with Leo together and Circular Republic on this report, but he can't be here today, so greetings to you, Armando. Getting well soon, I hope. I represent now these, the Bertelsmann Stiftung and the findings you made, and I want to start with one point. I want to be absolutely honest with you. I'm going to talk the rest of the time about how it is important that people manage all these things and that they're in the center of everything. But we all know in the topic of sustainability, it's absolutely crucial that politics give us regulations and a framework so that we are made to do it. We asked many companies what does them make to change the way of working, and it is regulation. If you have a law that says you have to do this, they're going to do it, and they do it really well. If you don't do it, maybe they do it, maybe they don't. And if this is the case, you have to rely on that in the companies itself, people start to change things. And that is what we were talking about with many companies. We're talking with two of them later on the panel. And we found out nothing what would be like rocket science, but I think it's very important to look at the different aspects which are concerned here with this topic. And you see that you have in an organization some barriers. That's not about the framework, but if you look at an organization and they want to be more sustainable and do something for the future, there are barriers. And first of one of them is that you don't have people who know what they are doing. They don't have the knowledge what has to be done if you want to change everything in a company. And if you have, they don't want to step up because they don't know if this might be against their career paths. Perhaps they don't get what they need, and they are seen as it's like an orchid topic, and so they say, yes, let's then see. Perhaps you remember in the last 20 years, you always had this CSR projects. When the people came into the different departments, everybody was saying, oh no, they're coming again, these tree-hugging types of people who want us to make something. They don't understand anything about technology, about the materials. We don't want to do this. So they said, go back to your department, don't do it, and we need different things for this. So we were watching out for what does it need to do this. Here are some citations of the people we were talking to. You can read them for yourself. You can look into the interviews and the results. We have them published For example, on our blog, Zukunft der Nachhaltigkeit, they will find other studies which are showing the same. It's about the people. If you have people who are promoters, who have the knowledge that can bring in these topics, it's a key success factor for the transformation in companies. Perhaps you remember the discussion before, it was about AI and technology. We were working on this topic as well years ago, and we have one study about the key success factors for twin transition. And it's not only that it's about technology, and it's not only about the people, but what we are talking about now is a hybrid intelligence. Even the technology doesn't work without the people. We have one colleague, it's Professor Doris Aschenbrenner from the University Aalen, which is talking about this, talking in a podcast about it, how it's really necessary to work together, people and technology. And that shows that's in organizations as well. Here you find the different pillars in which you have the knowledge and the skills you need as a person in a company. And the first thing is you have to be an expert. You have to know what's going on in the world and where are new technologies and ways of transformation. And you need process promoters, people who know what is a transformation about, how does it work in the organization. You have to know all the right people in the organization to spread it and to scale it. And you need perhaps the first level of leadership to commit to the topics and motivate all the others to work with you as well. And last but not least, the relation promoter. This topic can't work without a network between all the companies outside. There's no so much as concurrence, I don't know what this word is in English, competition, thank you very much, but it's more about working together because this topic is relatively new and the technologies are relatively new, and you have to exchange about the ways that work because we don't have any time. Because the politics doesn't understand this and doesn't act as rush as they had to. The companies have to rely on themselves, and one way to do this is about the catalyst for circularity, and that will be what we are going to work together with Circular Republic, that we try to find something that we bring these promoters on their way in the companies to build up a way for this topic of circular economy. This was everything short, and I think now it's best to talk to the specialists and experts in the companies itself.
Thank you so much. I would love to invite two experts on that matter, Jela, Götting and Nadine Braun. And that's the right slide. Please welcome on stage. Maybe you can take a seat here and you can, perfect, amazing. Yeah, you heard the panel or the impulse. What we would love to talk about today, and I'm going to introduce you in a second, is that the circular transition does not only depend on technologies, but it depends on people, obviously. And we have two people sitting here bringing two perspectives. The management or HR management perspective and leadership perspective, and the strategy and implementation perspective. And please welcome with me Jela Götting from Tengelmann 21, the Chief People Officer at Tengelmann 21 AG, super experienced and with that invaluable perspective for understanding how pivotal talent is for transformations, right? How many? What do you think? How many transformations did you facilitate already?
Oh, that's quite a lot, I guess. Working at Adidas and BMW before and being responsible for stuff like that, it's been a huge number.
So there is a ton of experience, yes, regarding how important the people factor is.
Yeah.
At Tengelmann, you and your team, you're basically driving the entire circularity topic to some extent. And you've been a partner of us for a couple of years and also super supportive of the research that we did. I remember you were one of the very first interviews that we did. And you gave a lot of critical impulses. I think we also have a quote from you in the report where you really say, think about the talent pools, think about the people, understand how you can tap into these talent pools, otherwise it won't work. And before that, that's a funny anecdote actually, before that we thought we're going to build the biggest e-learning platform for circular economy e-learnings. And after that conversation, I talked to Susanne Kattner, our co-founder. Maybe we shouldn't do the e-learning thing. so you, one of
It was me.
it was sort of you, yes. Together with Saskia, actually, the interviews were close together. So that was pivotal for us. Thank you for supporting us. I'm really looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you.
And then I would love to welcome Nadine Braun from E.ON. Nadine, with 16 years of experience, you are now at a point where you are implementing circular economy strategies in such a giant environment and company as E.ON is. Before that, you've been at the Wuppertal Institute and Ernst & Young, and you brought all of that together and now have that very special position that not so many people actually have. Yesterday we talked about how many people have the same job title as you have in Germany that you know of?
I only know a few. I would say like 5. Probably I do not know everyone,
yes.
But really in the same position as I'm working in the strategy department, in the tree-hugging team, by the way, in the sustainability team. But yeah, we have an important role. So it's for the whole group. And not so many people doing this so far.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, and I don't know if you agree, this is a moment of serendipity. It's really, it's a moment where, of destiny, let's say, if you want to be dramatic, where we have a management that is brave enough to think about a topic like circular economy that's straightforward, and then a person that has the energy to work towards that topic specifically and is brave enough to put everything on that card, because it's not natural to bet on circular economy if you think about your career in some way. How do you look on that from a management perspective? Is that still something that is unique and special, or is it something that is happening over and over again at this point?
Well, I guess it always depends on the topic, right? And circular economy is one topic that we can talk about and discuss about, but there have been other topics in the world out there. The current topic that we've been listening to before is AI. I guess that's also one of the key priorities that we need to get into the organizations right now. So it's not just one. And then you can think about, okay, so how do I do this in general? That's more the management perspective, I think. And yeah, on the other hand, you just have an organization that has a focus on earning money.
Yes.
And maybe has a focus on a strategy that leads to earning money. So to me, the most important question is, and we've been discussing that on several panels before, how can you get this on the top agenda? And usually you get things on the top agenda if the CEO really supports, or the board or the management board supports these initiatives. And I'm lucky enough working in a business where we have a CEO and owner who really drives this forward and has a family in his back, so to say, who's really into those topics. And that, of course, gives us an idea, okay, we are allowed, so to say, to bring this into the organization, but it's still interesting to see that this is not enough. Because organizations, our portfolio companies that we work with or that we are invested in, they have their own agendas, they have their own responsibilities, obviously. We're talking, it's big companies that have structures that need to report to board of directors and all of that. So you have a certain constraint in which you need to be acting, and they have their own agenda. And yes, of course, we can come and inspire and tell them, and we want to, and have our CEO coming in and asking them to take on this topic. But still, in the end, you can love it or you can hate it, but in the end, it's about money.
It's about business, right?
Exactly.
What do you think about the impulse that we just heard? Maybe a quick flashlight round from everybody. So there's a couple of things that I think are really interesting. We saw that graph where we saw we're on that plateau of pilots at this point. Is that something that you all agree on? I mean, Birgit, I know that you agree on because that's the position that Bertelsmann and we have at this point. But Nadine and also Jela, do you see the same situation?
I would say it's definitely the situation for a lot of companies. Also within the E.ON group, we see that here and there are really nice pilots regarding circularity ongoing. But once it goes to, as you said, to strategic direction, or it should be operationalized, then it's getting challenging, because you have to talk to much more people in the organization to get their support in order to implement something across all units. So I think, and this is also when we come to skills, I didn't know that when I was hired, especially for the subject, that communication will be one major job.
Yeah.
So I have to talk to so many people, and you can also imagine each company has their different language, so meaning or also communication culture, to really understand, okay, how can I convince people here, or that I get their support. I think this is something that is really challenging. It makes fun, but you really have to, really open. You have to sometimes get rid of your own idealistic ideas. When I'm not talking about sustainability anymore, when I'm talking about circular economy, I'm really talking about business resilience type of topics and so on. And so I get more and more support in the organization. Mm-hmm. But it's really a tough job. And you need people that understand the organization. So it's nothing you can do with a consultancy, for example. It's also what we tried. So it does not work, because they do not understand each little thing that you need to understand in companies, and I can imagine it's the same with you. It's so different products you have and so on. Yeah.
I would actually like to add the consumer perspective, because that's the other obvious perspective that you can have. So whether or not consumers are really interested in buying goods, for example, and I mean, we are mainly in retail business, so that's a huge part of our focus. And if consumers are not really looking forward to paying more money for something that is more sustainable, then of course you have an issue. And so you can even go that far to, in the end, develop your consumer and try to get them onto your consumer journey. But even if you go into really high-cost product, in the end, not so many people are really interested in paying more money for more sustainable
Absolutely,
products.
yeah.
And I mean, you can ask that question yourself, whether or not you go to this retailer or that retailer to really buy your day-to-day goods. And you need to make your choice. And you need to have the money for doing that. And, that's where we are in right now, looking in the world. Consumers are less and less really interested in putting money into consume, into the goods they buy, and therefore they are holding back their money. We have a lot of insecurity in the world. People just don't spend money anymore. So this is where you really are in your vicious circle, and trying to find out a way. And this is why we are more looking at the question of, okay, what really adds value to that business case. And you can find these things, and we have those examples, and you can find these things in each and every company. But to your point, Nadine, you need to convince. And by convincing, you also need to inspire, and you need to inform, because most of the people just don't have that at the top of their mind. They are rather focused on, how do I deliver my day-to-day business and my day-to-day strategy. So if it's not part of strategy, if it's not part of consumers, if it's not part of management meetings, then it's quite, I mean, and you can actually replace that by AI or by what have you. It's the same thing. If management is not interested in using ChatGPT and would, it's
not going to happen.
They would come back to you and say, well, this is all bullshit, or we had this before. I mean, we all know this is not true, but most management teams have that in their mind, and therefore they don't really get that into the organization.
Would you, so it's interesting that you add something, because we have a strong organizational perspective in the report. Of course, there are business model perspectives, right? If you don't have the suitable business model, it's not going to work. People are not going to pay a green premium. We tried that, specifically in the textiles industry. People are just not interested in that. Yep. We can complain. It's a pity. People should, but they're not. And I think it's not we're not in the position to judge them morally. But it's just the way it is. But if you look at the organization, there were 4 blockades or barriers that we sketched out. Do you agree? What do you think about them? I mean, maybe I can repeat them. There's internal organizational barriers. I think that's a black box for everything change management. Obviously, there's barriers, but then there's 3 things that are particularly interesting, or at least 2 in the context of circular economy. No exchange of best practices. We did over 80 interviews, and I think in at least 50 of them, people said, I just don't know. I don't know what works. I don't know. Nobody's talking. There's no exchange in the community, or the community is too small. That's number 1. And the other thing that I would love to talk with you about is there is no career opportunities right now. Circular economy. There is exceptions, and I think today and yesterday there has never been such an amount of circular economy career people in one room than the last 2 days. But normally, let's talk about the normal. It's a goodwill project. People say, the tree huggers. And I hate the word, but it's good that you said it, because that's how some people still look at the topic. So how do you look at that from your perspective, Nadine? Do you think that exchanges best practices and the whole career topic is something that is still holding people back to jump into the topic?
Definitely. I mean, this is also one. If I've seen your presentation and I saw the 3 types of promoters, I had the feeling I'm doing all of this. And I think creating communities within. I mean, the E.ON group, we to us belong 400 daughter companies, so it's a big group with companies, and I see also my role to create this platform that the companies or the experts or the promoters that we probably have somewhere out there to find those people, but also to give them the platform that they can exchange. And and I think it's sometimes this person is missing, I think, that brings that all together and make it visible. So this is also, as I said, one part of my job. And definitely it's nothing that we have in a lot of companies, but sometimes people have positions or similar, like in product development, for example, there might be people that are really interested in circular economy. So sometimes it's like also a personal initiative, and you have to find those people. So what we did, we created a group of the Coalition of Willingness People. Yes. So we are meeting now every 3 weeks in a Teams meeting, and these people, they come from really different units. They are not all in sustainability. They're sometimes in RD&I. They're sometimes also from the HR department. It's just because they have they're personally convinced and saying, hey, let's do it together. And I think this is also one format how we can probably then also train these people to bring them to a next step, for example. Yeah.
But isn't that interesting that in the end, everyone would say and state, yes, that's really, truly important, and probably one of the most important things for the world. But on the other hand, no one is really managing up to those directions, and it's quite hard to find people who are really taking time, spending extra time, investing time into getting stuff forward. So, that's again like the price for the consumer. In the end, every consumer you would ask for, everyone would say, of course, I'm more buying the organic T-shirt, dress, shoes, food, what have you. But in the end, they wouldn't pay more.
The reason for this might be that the companies itself, and I'm talking about first-level decision makers, don't have understood what this is all about.
Exactly.
It's not only about tree hugging and having nice trees around. It's that our time is running up. We don't have so much anymore, and it's about competition. And it's about the question if this company in this shape with this product will be there still in 5 years or in 10 years.
Yes.
I think what everybody neglects to see is that on the EU level, they're not as afraid of heading into this topic as we are in Germany. So it will only take few time that there will be regulation that we have in our national level to be embodied. And then we have a problem. Talking about the digital product pass coming 2027. We don't have the competence in Germany, and we don't have the infrastructure to make this happen. So what will happen? It doesn't work, and it's all up to the companies to do this. If the companies don't understand that they have to adapt, it's adaptation what this is all about, that you have to see what can we do. They won't be fit to do all this and to get the right products, the right materials, and the right amount of time, and they can't live up to the competition on the international level, even in the EU, if they don't start to do this.
But it is also and I agree, that's definitely part of the problem, right? But it's also if there is a business case. And Nadine and I yesterday talked about what she's doing. But first, I absolutely, the quintessence or you did the perfect summary of the study, right? In every successful transformation that we've looked at, people played a crucial role, networks played a crucial role, and best practices plays a crucial role. Nonetheless, there is no support structure to actually build and facilitate that. And it's a really strong argument. There is a business case in what you developed, the eBay for spare parts thing. There is a clear business case that everybody understands. Why was it so difficult to implement that nonetheless? And I think it's not only about the understanding. People get that the numbers are good at some point. Not everything works in a circular economy. You have to find your way around some things. But there are clear and understandable business cases for the management. Why is it still a problem and so hard to implement that on the ground?
Yeah, I mean, what we are talking about was that we are now about to implement a really simple idea. It's like an internal marketplace within the group where we can make it more transparent, where our spare parts, especially parts that we need for our grid infrastructure. We know that we have longer leading times here and there for certain components. We also know we have a pressure on the energy transition, so we have to really accelerate. So one solution could be, hey, create transparency on what is somewhere in the storage. And there's also a clear business case because people are really complaining about the high storage costs. So it's very clear. And we started this idea to implement with a pure idea 3 years ago. And we thought, hey, this is so simple. I mean, it should take just 2 or 3 weeks
and
with
you
one
said everybody
developer.
understood it right away. Like people understood what you want to do, right?
Yeah, but if you're doing this in a corporate world, things are really getting complicated. And I really disagree that there are more regulations. We recall all the regulations that we're having in the corporate world. It's really crazy. So we have to talk to legal teams in our company. We have to talk to the accounting team. We have to talk to our workers' council. So it's everything what you normally do if you are implementing a software tool. That was then my job. And I'm not a software developer. Yeah. So this is something that could happen also for a person, me, that you have to jump in a purely new subject. It was by a learning curve. But you have to be really flexible and adapt to the situations. And so, the challenge was that there is a fully different regulative environment that you have to consider. Is it allowed that we trade components, spare parts, or used components between the companies? Yeah, simple questions that we have to supply chain, procurement. Yeah. What is the price that this component will be traded? So what is it? Yeah. We have to talk to the tax department because they say, hey, what about the taxes then? And so a lot of things, but now. In June it will be launched, so very soon, in 1 week. So it is there now.
Congratulations to that. Jela, I saw you nodding a lot. What is going through your head?
Well, it reminds me of a completely different topic that we've been talking about for ages, if not decades, and that is the war for talents. I've been in HR for, 20 years. And have been in different huge companies, and one main topic used to be all the time the war for talents, and we're running into it, and everything's getting crazy, and we need to do something about it. And what happened in the end that companies did, they just ignored it. They didn't really look into building up talent pipelines, trying to have people stay in the organizations. They were reluctant of any kinds of diversity and inclusion programs. Everyone thought that was just ridiculous. I mean, I'm really talking black and white now, but we had a strong push against all those initiatives. But it was pretty clear, and numbers were pretty clear 15, 20 years ago already, that we would run into issues. Now the issue is here. Everyone can see it. Everyone can see it in their day-to-day business in Munich, when you go to a restaurant or when you go to your, I don't know, retailer, and all of a sudden shops are closed because there's no one who can deal with it. So that was clear for the last 15, 20 years, because you have clear numbers, how many kids are born and so on.
Yeah.
So that was just ignored, because the next 3 to 5 year priority is the most important, and now we are at where we are. So, I can give you 5 different examples, and the question is, why do we know about problems and issues that are quite complex? We understand, okay, there's something I need to do, but not me, and not here, because maybe also performance management drives me. So company internal performance management drives me to focus on, I don't know, short-term goals rather than long-term goals. So all the systems that we are used to, where we get evaluated how we do our jobs and what is good and what is bad. I mean, it's really a huge topic.
Yes.
But that's maybe a different example where you can see no one really, everyone understood, but no one really took action.
But is it because what I have the feeling with the circularity subject is that it's sometimes too complex, and then people start just ignoring it because they don't see how we can solve it really quickly and in the next 3 weeks. So, and I think sometimes it's really patience, sometimes also really important. This is also what I learned, that you have to take your organization with you and not put so much speed on something, and this, it's not the nature of everyone, I know, but I can imagine that this is what happens. It's too complex, we cannot solve it quickly, so then let's move to the next topic that we have to solve, or that we can't solve in 3 weeks.
That is something we saw when we had Corona, and for 2 years when the Ukraine war started. We thought we were running out of energy. We would be cold in the winter. And what happened? We solved the problem
example.
Everywhere. This digitization in the companies that rose up, but I still have to say it's not digitalization to take your laptop to your kitchen table. But however, all these things happened, and it happened because there were crises. And we need in the companies the people, and that's what we were talking about. What we are going to do as next is to enable the people in the companies to tell the first level, this will happen if we don't do this. We are running behind. We have to be before the waves. And there you need the knowledge, and they need the commitment, and they can ask the first level to give the commitment, and they can make the processes in the organizations to implement all that what is necessary to make this as a new normal business thing that you have to do. It's a transformation about something, and that's what we're talking about. It's a process that has to happen in every company, like digitalization. We have to implement it because you won't be there as a company maybe in 10 years latest if you don't adapt. And that is the threat in the room, and I hope that these people that we try to educate will be able to be heard in the companies.
Exactly, and there's one crucial question. I know the time is running, I'm sorry. But like, if we would like to clone Nadine, and like, how do we put the topic of circularity on the career pathways that are out there? Because right now, we heard Trihaga, we heard side project, we heard goodwill, we heard there's just somebody who really believes in it. So it's I don't know if that's what people that like really want to have a steep career, or, like climb up the career ladder quickly. What is attractive to them? The question is, do we need these people? Do we need the career people that really fight to be top-level management in the next 7 years to be on board with that? Or do we need the people that are convinced and actually intrinsically motivated? Do we need a combination? And a last question, do we need a chief circular economy officer, or do we need circular economy in everything? So we have 2 more minutes. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I quickly can answer that. I think you cannot say that you need a person in this or a different department. So I'm in strategy. So,
Yes.
but this is it's random. I mean, I could have been also in supply chain and doing the same job there, probably with a different, slightly different focus. So I think it doesn't matter where the person is. I would say, but you have to have this person somewhere, and I think this is the important role here. On Career Path, we are using this, or HR department, they just did a movie for me for 1 minute for hiring new people, because they say circularity is really attractive. It's like, it's a new kid around the corner, and young people find it really attractive. So they did a spot with me just for the recruiting of new people. So
I think it's a new title we need, Future Economic Leader, implemented on the minimum second level of decision makers, and go ahead.
Sounds good. Jela, what are your thoughts?
Well, if something is really cool, I guess you have a lot of people who will support that and who are interested in working in this area. So make it cool, make it interesting, make it inspirational, and off you go. Things need to be positive rather than, ooh, this is going to happen, and talk negative all the time. So if you create energy, then you will find people who will go for it.
Are you implying that circular economy is not cool at this point?
I'm
not cool
sure.
enough, probably.
Well, for some people, I mean, obviously for everyone who attends this conference, it's cool, and it's the thing they are standing for. But for other, obviously not. If I tell people on what kind of conference I've been speaking today, they would probably say, interesting, but don't you usually recruit board members? That's more interesting to people than talking about circularity.
I think what you just provided is a leitmotif for the Circularities for Catalyst. Make circularity cool. I won't put it again there, but make it attractive, right? Make it a career opportunity that
and
everybody
make it
understands.
fun. I mean, really talk about your job. Really sounds fun, I think. So
Mostly.
I would apply.
Frustrating, perhaps.
Thank you so much for joining and sharing your perspectives.
Thanks for having us.
It is super special that we had both sides, right? The hardcore implementation, what are the problems that we have on the ground if you think about circular economy strategies, and then your perspective, what role does talents, or do talents play, and also what is the difficulty in overall then? I think making circular economy cool, that's something that everybody can try who's sitting here. I hope that's one of the main takeaways from this conference, because that's what we need to do if we want to spread and scale the topic. Thank you so much. Are there any questions out there? There is one. That was nice. Bettina. We also love comments, but use the chance to ask questions. We don't have that exceptional experts here every day. What's your comment?
Yes, my comment is, just listening to it, I just feel so much reminded on the conversations I had 30 years ago on innovation. It was exactly the same. How do we make it cool? How do we get involved? How can we establish innovation in organizations? And, it is about providing career paths. It is about having very senior level responsibility. It is integrating it into incentives, making sure it is on the agenda and all of these things. So my advice, if you want to, integrate circularity, see what happened in the world of innovation, how innovation got onto the agenda, and maybe sort of do a little bit of copy, paste, and adjust.
Yeah, what's the secret sauce there? What has been the 3 most important levers that we pulled for innovation?
In the end, it's change management.
Yeah.
I mean, we call it transformation today, but it's the same thing.
Change management, yeah. Nice. Thank you for the comment. There is one more question. Amazing.
Yeah, a comment and a question. I also get a lot of. I'm very reminded on the discussion we have in AI also, how to get that one in. And it's the same pattern. And at the end, I think circularity as AI needs to become as common sense as the air we are breathing. And the question is how to get there. Probably there are masterminds creating cases and front running, and then you need a huge community of people they can talk to. They understand the language, the vocabulary, and they act when they are told. But they are not promoters, maybe. And that is basically the pattern I see. And my question is, how do you measure your own progress in regards of your efforts you are putting in? What is the maturity model you apply, or how do you do that?
To whom are you asking the question?
To measure what?
To measure your progress in your efforts. Question goes to probably Jela and Nadine.
Probably Nadine.
Yeah. I mean, I was hired 3 years ago, and my chef, he said, okay, it's like a green field. So do what you think is the right way to do. And I decided for certain ideas and the roadmap. So, and my measurement is currently, did I achieve what I decided to go for or not? But we are not at the stage that we really start measuring things, yeah, in a company like us. It's more like that I was trying out different things. Some worked and some didn't work. And I think this is kind of innovation a little bit, that you never know what will work and what will not work, yeah, for this company you are, because of those specific situation the company is, because of this specific support that you get, you never know. But this was, I'm measuring success in terms of that I hear more and more people talking about circular economy within our organization. So I would say this is progress.
Same here. I mean, as long as it's not a business case in itself, it's quite hard to measure that. And I mean, I had the same conversation around talent management even for the past 15 years, how effective and how measurable are leadership development programs. So, you know, you have tons of things and examples that you can give, and the innovation thing is the same. I mean, ask how to measure innovation also is quite hard. So I guess it's more about getting the stuff on the agenda, having management, providing a focus on these things, and try to follow up on initiatives and be inspired.
But I think that is the point you're making there, that if you can't measure it, many people or first level leaders won't implement it because they say, I can't measure it. So we're talking about CO2 footprint or things like that, or all this reporting things you have to do. And I think there you have to be successful to get down with your CO2 footprint.
Yeah.
And if you can do this and manage this, but I don't know, it has nothing to do with it, how you're going with circularity, but I think this is the one thing you can argument with.
Yeah, I mean, I just one last comment to this reporting, because a lot of people saying, hey, the CSRD is there, and let's put circular economy on the agenda, and then we have to report. And the units, it sometimes helps, but we decided for E.ON that we would not put it in spotlight of reporting subjects, because we thought we will bore the organization with another reporting subject. People, they would, before we even inspire them doing stuff, they're just already bored out because they have to create numbers they did not understand.
And it does not pay into objective to make it attractive.
Exactly. So this is also something that you have to be in mind. We are working on a really new subject, and sometimes it's not the right side or time to talk about regulation, to limitations. It's rather create this room of opportunities, and I think this is what you're doing here, and this is something I have to bring into my organization. So. And
thank you so
promoters should do, probably.
I'm super grateful that you joined. Thank you, Birgit, for jumping in for Armando and introducing the results. It's a super important partnership. That's what we're gonna try to make it more attractive. That's the goal that we have for the next couple of years. Thank you for joining and contributing your expertise. Thank you for your great questions and your time.